Welcome to Hindsight Hacking. I'm Corey Carter.
And I'm Ron Cool, and we have talked to hundreds of entrepreneurs hacking their hindsight to give you better foresight.
And now we're bringing you those same great interviews along with other mindset hacks, visibility hacks, and traffic hacks, and more to get you all the tools you need to gain more visibility and gain more traffic.
And of course, gain more sales. So head over to gethhm.com/toolbox to get all the free resources to help you get more.
And so, without further ado, let's get to it.
All right, everyone. Welcome back to Hindsight Hacking. And today, our very incredibly special guest, Miss Melissa Riker. I hope I pronounced that wrong, but if I didn't, don't kill me. But honestly, Melissa, I love what you're all about. And Ron and I, we had a show that we did earlier today even, and it is all about more impact, more income, and because you help overworked and underpaid entrepreneurs create time leverage business models that produce better results for their clients. And Melissa, everything that you're doing with the Funnel Boss Academy, you've got a free event coming up, and honestly, building seven-figure businesses and helping others do the same. I'm super excited to A, learn from you, and B, hopefully our audience can learn a thing or two. So welcome to the show, Melissa.
Thank you so much for having me. So it's Melissa Riker. So you almost got it right.
Almost got it.
So close.
No, this is exactly why he goes first. So I never have to say the person's last name ever because I'm like that. So it's awesome. But we are so excited to have you here. We know a little bit about you, but why don't you take a moment to tell the listeners more about you?
Awesome. No problem. Yeah, so my name is Melissa Riker. I am an online entrepreneur. I geek out on funnel strategy. I love like all things like funnels, strategy. I love all that geeky stuff, the numbers, optimization, like all of that stuff. Because my background is engineering, and so I am a nuclear engineer by degree. I have my master's degree in from Texas A&M, and I've been an entrepreneur total. Let me see. It was like right at the turn of 2017 that I walked away from my corporate job, and I have been in this entrepreneurial space trying to figure it out. So I'm not very successful for the first couple years, and then I made a few shifts in my business starting in 2019, and then all of a sudden took my business very quickly from 0 to 6 figures, and then again from 6 to 7 figures in 9 months. So pretty exciting. I teach other online entrepreneurs how to do the exact same thing that I did. I love it, and it's been a wild ride. I'll just say that.
Oh man! So let's talk about those first couple years because it's everybody. They'll see the success story and then they're like, "Yeah, that person did it. There's no way I could have." So. If you struggled, if you had all those challenges, how did you keep going? What was something that really you're like, no, this is the right thing. I'm not going to go be an engineer. I'm going to stick with this entrepreneurship and figure it out. Like, what was kind of walk us through those first couple of years there?
Yeah. So when I was in my corporate space, in my corporate job, I was a manager. So I had a big team. I did, I managed multi-million-dollar budgets. So I thought that I had done hard things. And so I just kind of assumed like, yeah, I can walk away from this job and run my own business. Of course I can. And so I was just assuming that I could do it. And then of course, I fell flat on my face over and over and over again. But something about entrepreneurs, you just got this tenacity, right? So I had this, like, I've got to figure this out. I'm a flipping nuclear engineer. I can do this. And I struggled, man. I struggled hard. And, I did get to a place where I almost threw in the towel. I mean, many times, but at one time really almost threw in the towel. I decided to give it one more shot. And, I just kind of went all in, and the rest is history. But I swear I have a list. I keep a list to keep me grounded. I tried 17 different ways to make money or start a business from home. 17 different things. And, I was one of those people who, and this probably will resonate with some of you guys that are listening. Like, I would pivot, anytime something didn't work out, I would just like, oh, well, that thing sucked, or I couldn't do it, or I suck. And then I would try something new, and, over and over, 17 different times.
I think it's so. One, I have to say you're probably the first nuclear like person that's been on our show, so that's pretty cool. But I want to talk about that a little bit more. So Corey and I have a very strict rule around pivoting, and it's like I want to talk about the pivot versus the push through, right? So if you would have pushed through on any of the other 17, could you have limited the learning curve, or would it made any of the difference, or what do you think?
Absolutely. I mean, looking at what I know now, right? Hindsight,
Right.
was it that I could have made any of those 17 business ideas work. But the thing is when something doesn't work out, and this is what I tell my clients now all the time. I'm like, every time they want to pivot, every time they want to change what they're doing, I always have to ask that hard question, like, are you letting yourself off the hook a little bit here? Like, are you giving yourself an out? Because trust me, I get it. I've been there like 17 times. But that's what I was doing. Like every time something didn't work out, instead of, looking and trying to figure out why didn't it work out, I just tried something new. And so every time you start over, you start over.
Yeah, that's one of the huge things that we actually set forth with our actual podcast was we are not going to pivot. We're going to commit to once a week on this show, no matter what. And then once we grew beyond that, we were able to do twice a week. And then now we do it 5 days a week for this one show. But it started with that commitment to the podcast, to ourselves, to our audience. And then, we've known people that pivot on the little things like a podcast and only get one show in a month, or then they take a break and 3 months later and they don't ever get that consistency. And then at the end of the day, their offers are doing the same thing. Right. Yeah. And so, that's definitely like so hard. And yes, but if you have a loser, right? Like if you have a business that is just not going to work, have people tell it to you, right? Like have people dissect it. Don't just do it alone. And then go and don't let yourself off the hook. Right. So how do you really go deep with somebody to not let them off the hook? As I don't know if it's within your Funnel Boss Academy that you're really digging deep on their stuff, or what's kind of your process for that?
Yeah, because I mean, because of my story. So I'm very transparent, open with my story, because I want people to hear all the mistakes that went into my overnight success story. But yeah, so that's why like inside Funnel Boss Academy, we do a lot of mindset work. We have a dedicated mindset coach, because like as much as I love numbers, I love the strategy, like I geek out on that stuff. I love it. Most of it's like up here, like it's so hard to show up every day and to put yourself out there and then not get the results that you want right away. And I've seen hundreds of entrepreneurs since I've been an entrepreneur that have thrown in the towel because they were looking for that instant gratification. And like, that's not what this is about. And I don't know why, for me, like I put myself through college. I went to school for 6 years to get my master's degree. I didn't expect to be a nuclear engineer like my first semester, but for some reason in the entrepreneurial space, like we expect that happens. And I don't know if there's so many people out there saying, talking about overnight success stories and all of that. I don't know what causes that, but I spent 6 years learning that skill. And I somehow like magically expected that, that I didn't have to do that.
Oh my gosh. Like you're singing to my heart right now. Cause there's so many times that we'll be talking to people and they're like, oh, I don't want it to be a get rich quick thing. Right. And it's like, it's not. So you're fine. Right. And then like week 2 of them learning something, they're like, I haven't made $1 million yet. What's going on? And they get so frustrated. It's like, do you remember like the conversation we had like 2 weeks before? Like, that's not what it is. Like, it's about consistency. It's about the long game. It's about having a mission and creating impact and going forward and not sweating the small steps and just keep pushing through that. And then the impact will come, but you have to do things for the right reason. So I think that's hilarious that you brought that up, because that's something that I know we can fall into as well. Corey and I will be like, oh, hey, this and this and this. I'm like, okay, we just started that, so settle it down, right? So what advice do you give someone that's starting in your Funnel Boss Academy?
I mean, we really we have a strategy. We have a framework that, it's the framework that I built my business to the $1 million mark on. And so it's like, no, we're going step by step, and you don't move on to step 2 until, you've mastered step 1. And even then, I teach a specific launch strategy, and, it involves a lot of, people think of funnels, they think of automation, and all that. No, we still have to bring the human connection in. So I teach a specific launch strategy that has a lot of that live element. And we run the same challenge over and over and over again. We're not redoing things. We're not changing. We make tiny tweaks, but we're perfecting one thing. And that's, we have to keep coming back to that instead of, pivoting or saying oh, well, my audience, this wasn't the right audience, or, we just go all in on this one thing. It's laser focus. And once you have it, once you find the content that converts and the messaging, and you find your voice, you've got it. And then you just use it, but you've got to get there. And so we really have to, I think, come at it with that mastery level. Because if you're wanting people to pull out their credit cards and invest in themselves through you, you have to come with that level of certainty. And that doesn't happen overnight, as much as I wish that it could. I'm pretty good on camera now, but even a year ago, if you watched my videos, it's embarrassing. Everything we do is a skill. And we have to think of it my little kid, I have a 5-year-old. We just put him in T-ball. And he goes out there and he hits the ball, he tries to hit the ball and he misses it. Nobody expects him to go out there on the field and play T-ball well the first, 100 practices. But we have to allow ourselves to see it that way. That's hard. It's hard because we put our heart and soul into it. This is our thing, and we're so passionate about it. So it's hard. This is the hardest thing I've ever done. And I'm, I know how to solve the diffusion equation.
And you're a mom. I don't know which one.
A nuclear mom. That's scary all the way around. Holy smoke.
Oh man. All right. So I love that laser focus to gain the certainty. And so I was playing around on your homepage, and you've got a couple other things that I almost pulled out my credit card today, but I figured I'd talk to you first. So your freedom funnel, that whole kind of setup, is that something you just have as more of that lead magnet, or is that one of your things that you kind of set on automation now? What's kind of your stuff with that?
Yeah, so it fits into the strategy that I teach. So I'm really big into finding the buyers and monetizing quick. Because another thing that I see happen is if we can't bring cash flow into our business, we can go under pretty quick. And so I've developed a strategy where, instead of, sending people to these free PDFs that then, just to build your email list, we really monetize our audiences really quickly. And one of those is directly by asking them to pull out their credit card for a tiny offer, or, the SLO funnel. And then everything points to a higher ticket. All strategies go, it's just it's one path. It's so simple, and everything is just a little piece of the journey that gets them there. So yeah, we run traffic straight to a sales page and straight to our live challenges. And that's how we really sift through those buyers and, find those people who are they got a problem and they're looking for a solution to the problem.
So true. I think there's so many people, and this is where, again, the alignment is crazy, because we don't want people to feel how we felt when we got stuck, right? Right? Because that stinks, right? And you're oh my gosh, what do we do? Are we doing the right thing? How come it's all these crazy things you have to learn? But that's part of the journey, right? And what I think your course does, and correct me if I'm wrong, it helps them along that journey. It helps them to understand, here's the parts that you're probably going to hit, and this is how you get over those pieces.
Absolutely. So, we have I teach 3 core funnels. And so, that's basically what, everything that I teach is like which order, how to launch it, why it's that way, and how to make it all make sense together. So it's one cohesive message. It's one cohesive funnel strategy so that you mean something, right? So that your message, like you're not diluted, like everything is just obsessively centered around one message, one strategy, and it makes it so much simpler.
So having maybe let's geek out a little bit and talk about what are these 3 core funnels, right? Like from, you said SLO, self-liquidating offer, for those listening that don't quite know that one, but or what most of us, and I think most listeners do understand, is a tiny offer. Like, I think we can all figure that one out. All right. And then, so you have your core that I assume then leads to the Funnel Boss Academy, is the kind of where the messages end up, unless there's one I don't know about yet. I don't know.
Yeah, so there is one that's kind of that's hidden in there, but so the SLO funnel, the tiny offers, that's where a lot of entrepreneurs, like, they want to gravitate towards that because they feel like selling something for $27, $37 is going to be a lot easier than selling something high ticket. And so the SLO funnel is the last one that we build out because it doesn't make you a lot of money, and it's actually one of the harder funnels to get to convert. So I'm a really big fan of leverage because, again, I have 2 little boys, and the whole reason that I left the corporate space was because I wanted to spend more time with them. And so I run a 7-figure business in 25 hours a week. And the only way I can do that is with leverage. So the main funnel that I teach inside Funnel Boss Academy, or our first one we go for, is a leveraged group program where you can charge high dollar prices and you can actually get that recurring cash flow coming in. You can serve a lot of people at one time. We run it live. That way, you're actually in the trenches with your clients. You're really honing in on your $1 million framework. And then afterwards, of course, there's a back end ascension, because why in the world would we want our clients to go anywhere else? So we're going to continue to serve them on the back end. So that's the hidden funnel that you don't see. But then once we have our framework really nailed down, now we can strategically go in and we can pull a little tiny piece of our framework out and we can bring it to the front and create, that SLO funnel. So when they go through that funnel, it's not, the purpose of that funnel is not to get a $27 purchase. It's to get someone into your core offer. So when you reverse engineer it that way, and I'll just give you some stats from mine, 60% of the people who come into Funnel Boss Academy came in through an SLO funnel. So they paid me money to then sign up for my higher ticket program. So when you reverse engineer it, it's everything's like the next logical step, and they just go right into it. So it's the last funnel, but it's a beautiful funnel, but it's the last funnel because otherwise it just doesn't make any sense. If you don't have something high ticket behind an SLO funnel, it makes no sense.
Correct. And I think that's where a lot of people, they're afraid for that high ticket offer. So they start with a low ticket.
Yep.
And then they don't have anywhere for them to go. And they're kind of like a one and done funnel person, right? And so what do you tell someone when they're first starting and you're like, okay, I have a medium offer? Like, do you help them come up with a bigger offer or a smaller offer, or kind of where do you guide them?
So what we do is we basically look at the problem that they solve, and we make sure that it's a high ticket problem. So we look at the positioning, the packaging of their offer. We look at, how can we serve our clients on a bigger level? I used to try to do a lot of courses, and they never worked. I could never get courses to sell. And I have a ton of courses that I bought and get nobody results. So I'm a big fan of adding in that human element, because I think people need support with implementing this information. There's so much information. I'm giving out tons of information right now for free. Information is never the problem. It's the execution of that information. And people know that. They know that. And so if you can help people execute and actually implement the information and hold them accountable to it, you can charge a lot of money, and reach a lot more people and actually change lives and build a brand that way. So we take that problem that you solve and we just package it up and position it to be a group, like a leveraged group program where you're working from a point A to a point B, and you're doing it in a step-by-step framework.
Yeah, perfect. And Ron and I, everything that we create, we have that same mentality. Like we don't want to just give you info, right? We want to make sure you execute on that. And so part of like anything we do, we have a done for you element, whether it's like helping people launch a podcast. Well, we do the editing and the graphics for a person to take out all the excuses, right? And so from a normal course, right, like you just get all the info and you never think twice. But our belief is we're going to figure out what are these roadblocks that a person would have to the end result that we're trying to provide, right? And so that's kind of our belief on that. But one thing that I think Ron and I have struggled with is that tiny offer. I think we've got our core and we've got our high ticket, and then at lead magnets, we're just horrible at that. So what do you do to people like us that I'm asking from our free coaching now? So, but what do you do for the people like us that struggle with that tiny offer, that lead magnet, and really excelling there? Because 60% is huge, and I mean we are doing pretty well at just having a core and a high ticket. And so, but just imagine, Ron, if we had our lead magnets and our SLO.
It's the lead magnet that hurts. We can't figure that one out.
It is. And it is like, it is there's a lot of strategy and human psychology that goes into those tiny offers. And just for some perspective, like mine, I mean, it converts so magically now, but it took me 4 months of testing, and you really have to invest in that data to know like what's working. And so you're going after, in order to find people, because you want to find the people who buy something little, but they already have that bigger picture. Right. So you have to position it in a way that you're getting them a quick win, or you're moving the needle, but it's towards a bigger problem. So you never want to promise like a huge result for $27, because you're going to get like the people who have $27 budgets.
Right.
And what really works well with these SLO funnels is the piece that you pull out is a piece that they already think that they need. It's not like, it's the thing that they already think they need. So if you look at mine, like my best converting one is groups that convert. So it's a how to monetize a Facebook group. So my ideal clients, coaches, consultants, like they're like, yeah, I think I need a Facebook group, or I have a Facebook group, and that's my key to success. Is if I could just get that thing to work, then I would not struggle. And so then they come in, they buy into that, and then they get so much value from it, and then I immediately funnel stack and put them into the next thing. And so that's the piece, is like you got to hit that urgent need, that big pain point, but the one that they already think that they need. So that's a key one. So that's why you've got to start with the end in mind. Like, where do you ultimately want them to go, which is your higher ticket offer? You look at the result that you promised there, and what piece can you pull out that gives tremendous value, hits the urgent need, and kind of hits that little trigger. Like, this is going to move the needle in that direction. So it's already like, it ties so perfectly with the back end offer. That's easy.
Okay, so now this is a fun question. I don't think I've ever asked this question, so I'm kind of excited about this. So what do you tell people when they're afraid? Because Corey and I went through this, right? Mostly me, not Corey. It was mostly my problem, and I've gotten over it. But I didn't want to give away stuff for free for a while, right? Mm-hmm. So why? And taking something that's in a higher ticket realm and pulling it out and putting it in a small ticket, like there's a mind thing that has to happen there. Like you have to really understand what the next step is for that person that's getting that little piece, and they're not getting all of it, right? But what do you tell those people, like how I was, like, I don't want to do that. That's scary.
I know, because it is. And we feel like we have to hold on to that because that's the secret they get behind the paywall. Right. And, so here's my little challenge to you, because you guys have probably invested quite a bit in your business, right? Would you consider yourself like high ticket mindset, high ticket buyer?
Yeah.
So that's who we want, right? And so when you think about the high ticket buyer, you're not out there Corey and Ron, you guys aren't out there really looking for free information. Like high ticket buyers, they're not looking for free information. They don't want to DIY it. They don't want to be alone in it. But what they're looking for is just enough information to know if you're the right person to invest in, because they're already searching. I always use the analogy, like if you decide you're going to Las Vegas, I don't know where you guys are.
Colorado.
Denver, yeah.
I'm in Houston, so we go to Las Vegas.
We'll use Vegas. That's a fun place. That's fun.
It's a fun one. Like if you decide you want to go to Las Vegas, like you're gonna buy an airplane ticket. So you might shop around for the right one, but you're gonna buy one. And so high ticket buyers are the same. Like they want a solution to their problem. So if you don't give away some of your best stuff, then you're gonna skip right over. The high ticket buyers are gonna go right over you because they're not looking for the cheap solution. And so you have to give away some of your best stuff for free. And so many of even my clients, with so many of my audience, they resist me on that. But I'm telling you, it's like, it will change everything because you've got to position yourself as a solution that your competitors can't fix. And the only way you can do that is to show how you're different.
Yeah. So I'm gonna jump in really quick, Corey, because even while you're talking, like I know you're right, and I know that's the direction to go. Like I'm cringing inside. It's like, oh, right? It's like it's embedded in my brain.
It is, but like information is not the problem, right? And so I could give my entire membership site out to the public for free, and people still wouldn't get the results.
Right.
They wouldn't.
No,
and
you're right.
Go through it, and so like people are not going to take your information. Some people might, if they're not quite like they haven't suffered long enough, they might go try once to do it themselves, but they're going to come back because they're going to quickly realize that they cannot do it on their own.
Right.
So I don't think you ever have to worry about it. I mean, this is this is the strategy I put in place. The first time I launched this funnel was November of 2019. I crossed the $1 million mark in June of 2020, giving away the same thing I teach inside Funnel Boss Academy. Obviously we go a lot deeper. I can't change someone's life in 5 days. I can't give them everything, but like, it's my strategy. Like it is my framework that I give for free. And every time I launch it, I have multiple 6-figure launches. So I challenge you to change your mindset around it, or at least just the proof is in the pudding, right? Go out and try it.
Right.
Yeah. Yes. I love that. So now Ron is going to come to my side over here and but it took us, it took us a long time to figure out our core. It took us a long time to get the right high ticket, and that stuff sells easy. Like it's pretty crazy how easily that sells, but to really scale, I know, we need that lead magnet. We need that right SLO funnel. And so it's kind of cool that you're here. So thank you.
Yeah.
All right. So I wanted to kind of shift a little bit and, talk about what was that change that took you from 6 to 7 figures in 9 months? What did you do that totally shifted?
I'll just tell you a little story because it's an interesting story. You guys know Russell Brunson, right?
Yeah.
So I just got recently hung my 2 Comma Club up on the wall. So I got that little award. But back when I was still struggling a little bit, I got the opportunity to mastermind with Russell Brunson. And so, I fly out there, and so we each got to ask him like one question. And so I asked him this question. And I said, what's the biggest difference between those who hit the 2 comma and those who don't? And he's like, well, if I open up your ClickFunnels account, how many funnels do I see? And I was like, oh gosh, I hope he doesn't make me do it.
Don't look at mine.
I have like 100 funnels in there. And so it's not like he said anything that was rocket science. It's like innately we all know that we need to focus, that we need to go all in. But for whatever reason, maybe it was the right time. I was definitely had suffered enough, like I was ready. And I came home from that mastermind. And well, of course, no, back up. So I asked him, my next question was, okay, Russell, well, which funnel? which funnel. And so he said, a presentation funnel. He does a lot of webinar funnels. I don't, for me, a webinar doesn't, I don't know. I get so like I talk a lot, and so a webinar funnel, like I would have like a 10-hour webinar probably. but which is funny too, because I'm an extreme introvert. Most people don't believe that about me now. But so anyways, I took that presentation funnel and I turned it into a live challenge funnel where, I could go over the course of 5 days and then, pitch my high ticket program, which is also, something that he said is like, if you're going to hit the $1 million mark, it's a lot easier to hit it with, something higher ticket than something lower ticket. So it's exactly what I did. I launched it for the first time in November, and I just kept launching that thing. And every time, like, it would get bigger and better. And I still use that same strategy because it works.
Yeah. No.
I think I don't know if it was I don't know what happened, but like just when I like the level of focus, like I forgot everything else. I even went in and deleted other funnels that I was tinkering with, and I just went all in on one offer, one strategy. And once it hit the $1 million mark, now I can start looking at other things.
The whole one funnel away thing.
Yeah, which is funny because like the whole reason I got to mastermind with Russell Brunson was because I was a top affiliate of the One Funnel Away Challenge, but I kind of learned my framework by helping people in the One Funnel Away Challenge because he teaches the SLO funnel, which is the wrong funnel to go all in on if you're a beginner.
Well, maybe you could teach OFA next time.
Yeah, you can take it over.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So now I kind of flip it. I flip the way he teaches it, but it's kind of fun.
No, I love it. I think you have an event coming up next week, don't you?
I do. So I have I call it high ticket challenges where I teach my strategy. I give it. I mean, I'm not lying when I say I literally give you my strategy from everything from like how to step into that high ticket mindset, because that's the first barrier, right? You got to sell yourself first. So there's, I have this, I'll call it genius because it is this way of like reframing your mind really quickly to get you excited about that. And then how to design like an offer that does speak to that high ticket mindset. And then of course, how to launch it and get it out there. So yeah, I have a live event. It's called High Ticket Breakthrough, and it starts the 11th, so Monday.
Nice.
Coming up. So anybody listening now or when this show is live here in a couple of days on iTunes, you got to register soon to catch it. But Melissa, before I got one final question for you, and it is our fun signature question, and it is all about hindsight. So we all know hindsight's 2020, and so if you were to have the ability to go back in time and give yourself, a younger version of yourself, a little advice. It could be yesterday. It could be 10 years ago. What kind of advice would you give for our audience? Because our whole goal is to help them hack your hindsight to give them clearer foresight.
Yeah. So great question. And it is true, man. I think that this is the only time you can get real clarity is when you're looking back. But, if I would say like, if you look at my story, like, yes, I struggle. I was on the struggle bus for 2 years before, things took off for me. But once you find your thing, things can happen really quickly, like really fast, like they did for me. And so my looking back, like what I wish someone had told me is to start making those $1 million decisions and the $1 million actions before you get to $1 million. And so this is like how you're spending your money, how like investing, what you're investing in your business, the all of those, like start thinking like a millionaire long before you get to be a millionaire. And then once you start thinking and you back it up with thinking's not enough. So you got to back it up with the actions and the decision making. But once you start doing that, like your reality can catch up to you pretty quick. So that's my final
Love
word.
I love it. And it's 100% true. So I love that. And mindset is everything. So I love that. But I know there's people listening that are like, I totally want in on that. Where can they connect with you?
Yes, I would love to have you guys come in to my free live event. Is going on January 11th through the 13th. And you can find that at melissaricker.com/HTC for high ticket challenge, HTC.
Perfect. And that will be in the show notes. And you can go to melissaricker.com and check out all the other amazing stuff that is there for you. I'm sure you'll be tempted to pull out your credit card just as I was, because I think your funnel for the group convert is I don't know, one of the longer funnels that I've seen. And it's for that $27 offer because you go into such detail. Like it's a beautiful funnel. And I definitely appreciate all of that. So, all right, Melissa, thank you so much for joining us. You've been a blast. Thank you for giving us a little free coaching, and maybe we'll see you next week on the channel.
Hop on over and join. All right. Thanks you guys for having me. This was a lot of fun.
Thank you so much. Oh boy.
All right. Nothing like getting a little free coaching on our podcast. Gosh. I assume you have a couple takeaways because I have about 30 if you don't have any.
I have a whole bunch. So I'm gonna share some wise wisdom that she said that I loved was about pivoting, and pivoting just equals starting over. You're starting over. So I thought that was awesome. So push through and actually give it time to see what it's going to do. Right. So we made a very, conscious effort that this is what we're doing. This is what's going to happen. And we're not going to pivot no matter what. We're not going to pivot. And guess what happened? We didn't need to pivot because reality caught up to us. And I think that's the other thing. Stay laser focused and reality will catch up to you.
Yeah, that's right. $1 million decisions and actions before you're there, because if you want to get there, you've got to be ready. And at the end of the day, that's a pretty mighty fine goal for everyone to have. But you got to be there. You'll never get there if you don't have the right decisions and actions taking place. So stay focused, stay laser focused, right, to get the certainty that you need. So, all right, everyone, thank you so much for joining us today on Hindsight Hacking. If you're watching this live, hashtag comments or make the comments make a comment in there if I can talk at all. But at the end of the day, we can't wait to see you everywhere, anytime, and we will talk to you later.
Yeah, guys, thanks for being the best part of the Hindsight Hackers community.